I know I'm arriving a bit late, but I wanted to talk about this topic too. So many people on the internet are taking this debate way too seriously, even though I think it could be approached just by looking at a few key points and analyzing where the franchise is right now after the success of the movies and the entire cinematic Sonic universe. But why does this topic keep blowing up again? Yeah, this isn't the first time it happened. Let's do a quick recap first. When the first trailer for the movie dropped, we all remember the huge criticism about the Sonic's design in the first film. But something some fans noticed was that the cinematic version of Sonic had lightning crackling around him whenever he used his powers. Some people thought those lightning effects would be removed during the redesign, but they stayed through all three films. The problem started when these effects began appearing everywhere. And when I say everywhere, I mean everywhere. The first time I remember the games using electricity and lightning to represent Sonic's speed was in Sonic Frontiers. Once you collect the maximum number of rings, Sonic unlocks a new ability where he can run at his top speed for as long as he has those rings. Some people liked this new ability because it matched the movies, but others started worrying that this lightning motif was here to stay. That became an issue for some fans because Sonic was always supposed to be a being as free as the wind, hence his title, the Knight of the Wind. Not the Knight of the Electricity or the Knight of the Thunder, the Knight of the Wind. The next big moment was with Shadow Generations, not just the game itself, but also the trailers and the Dark Beginning series. At that point, many people felt like Sonic's wind identity was gone. Now all we have is this radioactive hedgehog instead of the calm, acrobatic, and cool character he used to be. And with the new trailer for the animation, Memories and Beyond, the topic blew up again. A lot of people are complaining and debating, but which side is right? Well, what do you think about all this might be a bit disappointing for some of you, especially for the poll where Wind won, but I've already written a full page of this script, so I can stop the video now. Why not both? Why can Sonic use both wind and lightning as a representation of his speed? Let me explain my points. And remember, this is just my opinion, we can debate it in the comments. Sonic has always been defined by one of the franchise's most famous lines, "He's like the wind." A free-spirited hedgehog who loves adventure. Since his creation, the character has been closely tied to wind and everything that comes with it. Gusts, tornadoes, air currents. We see this in many games throughout the series. During his battle against Shadow on the Ark in Sonic Adventure 2, he creates cyclones using his speed to stop his rival. But here's something important. Sonic doesn't create those cyclones just because he's like the wind. They appear as a natural consequence of his extreme speed, and that's a key point I'll come back to later. We see this in Sonic Heroes, where it's a recurrent gimmick. Whenever Sonic uses wind to attack, it's always a byproduct of his speed, not random wind he summons out of nowhere. Remember the first law of thermodynamics, energy can be neither be created nor destroyed, only changed from one form to another. Sonic creates these cyclones and wind attacks by running at high speeds. We can see something similar in Sonic Battle with the sonic waves he generates during his spin dash. By spinning at high speed, he produces gusts of wind that strike enemies in front of him. This same type of attack shows up later in the video. In Sonic Rush during the battle against Blaze, we can see these kind of attacks again. Same thing in the Sonic 06 intro with the Sonata Festival. And of course in Sonic on the Black Knight, the game that gave him the title of Knight of the Wind. Sonic was always defined by wind across the franchise, but once Frontiers came out, things started to change. Let me show you something interesting though. Sonic still uses his wind-based attacks in Frontiers. Nothing has really changed, and I'm going to prove it. But before we go deeper, quick reminder, if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and share it. It really helps the channel reach more Sonic fans. In Sonic Frontiers, the battle mechanics are a bit different from previous games, but the core gameplay still shows Sonic using wind as a tool to perform his attacks. He moves his arms and legs at high speed to create powerful shockwaves and strike his enemies. It's also cool how he uses his speed to simulate flying across the battlefield, another creative use of wind when he reaches his highest velocities. This is where the lightning and electricity come in, and here's how I interpret them. Obviously Sega and Sonic team are using this to promote the movies and make the games more visually striking for new fans. But what if electricity is actually a natural evolution of Sonic's character? After all, powerful thunderstorms are always accompanied by strong gusts of wind, right? Electricity can be seen as a natural progression of Sonic's speed, and I don't think that's a bad thing. In fact, I believe it's mostly used well in most of his recent appearances. Maybe in Frontiers it didn't feel completely natural because it was the first time we saw this kind of power on Sonic, but that doesn't make it inherently bad. It's often used as a visual way to show that Sonic is getting serious. He's giving it everything he has and pushing his limits against tough rivals. It looks cool in the movies, so why not in the games? I know we're set to seeing Sonic as an acrobatic, stylish hedgehog who always finds a cool way to show off his speed, but it's not bad to try new things. Are we supposed to stay stuck in the same creative loop forever? I don't think so. The Sonic franchise has always been extremely creative with the character design. Why can't he have another natural way to express how fast he can go? Some people argue that if Sonic uses electricity to show his speed, he'll just be copying tons of other characters. But come on, if that's the argument, then what about Super Sonic or Shadow? Super Sonic was clearly inspired by the Super Saiyan from the very beginning, and Shadow was based on Vegeta, as we know from the original design notes. This franchise has taken inspiration from many other series, and that's never been a problem. It's not a strong argument. To me, the electricity represents Sonic reaching speeds he normally could not necessarily a boost or power-up, but an expression of being breaking his own limits. And like I said earlier, thunderstorms come with powerful winds, so Sonic can still use all his classic wind attacks alongside it. And for those who don't know, electricity and wind aren't the only expression of his speed. In Sonic's Atom and the comics, for example, running at top speed leaves a trail of fire behind him. I will admit one thing, it feels more natural in the movies for some reason. Probably because we are used to that high impact visual strike and style in the superhero films like the Marvel movies. After all, I think this debate is actually cool, because it shows how awesome Sonic can be if we combine these different expressions, or use the best of each one. Just look at fanart like the Cat Draw, for example. Sonic is a franchise that takes inspiration from other series to create something unique, and that's not a bad thing. Some people need to accept that things can evolve over time. Honestly, nothing has really changed to me just because Sonic now creates lightning when he runs at top speed. He's still the same guy, just with a new, colorful way to show how powerful he's become. The only version where I think they shouldn't use electricity is Classic Sonic. It wouldn't make much sense. We could theorize that as Sonic grows older, he develops new abilities and discovers more of his true power. Classic Sonic is just his younger self, so seeing him with lightning feels off, especially in the Shadow Generations trailers when he fights Time Eater. Shadow has also gotten his treatment, at least in the Dark Beginnings episodes, where we sometimes see lightning when he uses his chaos powers or runs at high speed. But I think that was mostly for movie promotion, because in the new animation I didn't notice any lightning, at least in the footage they showed. Will Metal Sonic and Silver get this treatment too? It's quite possible, since many characters are borrowing elements from the movies. We'll have to wait and see. Do I think this could become a problem in the future? Well, yeah, it could, but just if they start adding everything from the movies into the games. Electricity is still reasonable in my opinion, but if they import every single change, that's when I start questioning the creative direction. That said, the current mix of elements feels fine to me. I'd personally love to see more wind effects in the visual animations, to show a perfect combination of lightning and wind in a wild thunderstorm. I hope we get something like that in a new anniversary animation. After everything I've said in this video, I hope you'll understand my point of view. Please be respectful if you have a different opinion. You can drop it in the comments, I'll read all of them. You can also follow me on Twitter, I've been trying to be more active lately. Without further ado, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!